Let's review. Hilchot Giyur. Gehut. Laws of conversion. So when a person comes to convert, the first thing we do is
discourage.
How do we discourage? What's the question we ask?
Tell them to come back.
What are we trying to figure out? No, we're not trying to discourage
you're trying
them.
to find out why they want.
Why? I mean, ma ra'ita. What did you come? What did you see that you wanted to convert to Judaism? I mean, that question is not go away. We're not telling him to go away. We're trying to figure out, did he do it for money? Did he do it for a spouse? Did he do it for... why? Why are you here?
A girlfriend.
If the answer is, the Jewish people, even though they're suffering and even though they're miserable, even though I still want to join the Jewish people, immediately we go and we give him a Brit Milah. At the Brit Milah, we ask him to accept the mitzvot, and we tell him some of the lighter mitzvot. What are the lighter mitzvot? Okay, kippah could be in there. Tefillin, mezuzah, kashrut, tefillah, brachot, so on and so forth. And then we tell him some of the heavier mitzvot. What are the heavier mitzvot? More severe mitzvot. Tahara mishpacha. We teach him about Shabbat, observance of the holidays. We teach him about improper relationships, so on and so forth. And after he says yes, he accepts, we let him heal from his Brit Milah. We take him to the mikveh. Again, he goes to the mikveh. We repeat this process of telling him about the mitzvot. Do you know that until you convert, you can break all mitzvot in Torah, but now once you convert, there's consequences for breaking the mitzvot. We scare him a little bit, and then he comes out of the mikveh, he makes a bracha, makes a blessing, we hug him, we kiss him, we dance with him, we tell him, listen, everything we told you until now to discourage you was just to increase your reward. We don't want you to feel that we're being hard on you, and we, so to speak, make up with him. He makes a shechianu, he should make a celebration, and that same day, he's obligated in all the mitzvot that every Jew is obligated in. Tefillin, tefillah, brachot, so on and so forth. And if it's a lady who's converting, we mentioned what do we do in the mikveh? First, the ladies go and they put her in the water, and then the dayanim come inside, and the way we do this, she wears a
little cloth robe,
like a large robe that doesn't make her feel embarrassed. Some mikvahs would cover up the mikvah and put a hole in it, and some, in pressing situations, we perhaps allow women to be the ones in there. The preferable situation is the first one that I mentioned. She accepts the mitzvot, and the same situation happens just as a lady. We remind her that when she gets married and she goes to the mikveh, then this is the only time in her life that she will make the bracha after.
You make it sound like a fairly quick process.
It's not so long. It shouldn't take so long, technically. I mean, if all the L'Shem Shamayim-ness is there, if the person really comes because they want to join Hashem, they really learn and they want to know.
What I've seen is most people, it seems to take months or even years.
Years is the...
It takes years.
Now, it could be
sometimes
that
they have to go to several places.
There's a lot of learning. We take it for granted what it is you have to know. I'm not convinced that all of it is mandatory for them to really know beforehand.
There's one place, $1,000 you will make it in a day.
Oh, wonderful. This is not the kind of situation where it's necessary. It's not necessary that the convert knows all the halachot, all the mitzvot, the whole Shulchan Aruch by heart. But you have to imagine the integrity of a conversion can very often be based on how does society perceive the person who's converted. If yesterday the person didn't know anything, and today we went through the halachic process, but they really still don't know anything, and then they come to beit knesset, they want an aliyah, they want to be counted as a 10th person, we could very easily cause them a lot more grief by rushing their process than by helping them in a loving fashion through the process. But that's really, every beit din has to know who they're dealing with, what situation are they dealing with. Okay, let's see now what's necessary here. And Halacha Gimel. I don't know if you see it on your page, the third Halacha, in the middle column. Kol inyanei hager. All these things with a convert, ben hodiyah mitzvot, whether to inform him of the mitzvot, the kablam, to accept them, ben hamilah, whether it's a circumcision, ben atvilah, whether it's his mikveh immersion. Tzarich shiyu begimel haksherim ladun uvayom. It has to be done in the presence of 3 people who are kosher to judge and during the day.
There's no beit din at night?
Very good. We don't do beit din at night ever. Beit din doesn't convene at night. It's one of the reasons why if you forget Ya'alev Yavo, in your nighttime Amidah, you don't have to repeat the Amidah. Only in the daytime Amidah, because at night the beit din would not have been able to establish the new moon in the first place. And that's why it's not obligatory on you to go back and repeat Amidah. Okay, so we say every step of the conversion has to be in front of three. What are three people that are ksherim ladun? What does it mean that are kosher to judge? What are the credentials for that? Okay, you have to be Yirei Hashem. What else?
Shomer.
What things invalidate you from being a kosher judge?
Kosher food, or eating tray food.
Okay, so explain in a simpler way.
You don't follow the
You don't
mitzvot.
keep them.
Okay, the same thing that would invalidate a person from being a witness on a ketubah or something. It has to be a person who observes Torah mitzvot. One, they have to have HaShamayim. They don't have to be Torah scholars necessarily. They have to be three kosher Jews, not necessarily Torah scholars. Though one of them should be a Torah scholar who's familiar with the laws of conversion, or else they probably won't do it right. But technically, they don't have to be Talmidei Chachamim.
The rabbi is the one.
The question is if they're allowed to be related to each other. Can my father and I and a third Dayan sit on the same beit din? There's nowhere that it says no. In fact, I even found a proof today in the morning that maybe it's even okay. But L'maseh, it seems like it shouldn't be done that way.
Sometimes family members that will disagree. They don't
Right.
necessarily say, "Oh, I'm with my dad." You know. It's
Right,
not
but
necessarily
Chazal
like that.
still, as a measure of security, don't allow two people who are related to be witnesses for the same
Even
thing.
though halachically it's okay.
No, by witnesses is not allowed. The question is on a beit din for conversion. It doesn't say anywhere explicitly that
Oh,
it
for
cannot be
Edin,
family members.
as opposed to beit din.
Yeah,
Okay.
by edim for sure it's not allowed. There can't be psulim achmat avira. There's all kinds of avirot that people do that invalidate them. It's better not to list all of them. A lot of
Talking about
people.
in this one situation, or
No, in any situation of
like for a couple
dayanim.
marrying a widow, that would be a prime example of that.
Well, anything that they're violating the Torah, especially biblical commandments. People who are gamblers
Yeah, for a beit
also
din.
invalidate themselves from being kosher witnesses. People who speak Lashon
The thing
Hara.
is, who determines
That is hard.
who can be on the beit din?
On a social level or on a halachic level?
On a real level, on the reality level.
What do you mean on the reality level?
Halacha's reality.
Well, I mean, when a beit din is put together, who decides who could be on the beit din?
Well, normally a beit din in today's terms of beit din, the three people have credentials to be on a beit din. They got smicha to be judges on a beit din. But in halachic literature, beit din technically means three kosher Jewish men
Yeah.
who convene together to make themselves a court. I mean, you do this for Hataran Daim, but when you annul vows, you have a real beit din come from LA or something? No, it's the three people that sit down in a chair and they are the beit din for this matter. Technically, that would work.
There
So
are
I'm careful by
those three people.
even though the annulment of vows is more of a ceremony than it is an actual.
Is there an
Hatarat
active beit din
Daim.
in this town?
No.
After all this time?
Is there a lot of. Is there a
Politics.
questions that
Many
go on?
things.
And
Sometimes
it brings up the good points.
We've had a big Jewish community here for 30 years or more.
Well, LA is close.
People
Correct.
say that with so many things. Oh, buy all your kosher food in LA. Oh, go to your kosher restaurant in LA.
It's
Go
a
see a symphony orchestra in LA. It's like we live down the street. It's like it's not down the street. I mean, this is
Yeah, we should have it.
it's an independent city 150 miles from LA. And we don't have a lot of things because as people say, oh,
We
LA's
use
up the
we use
road.
Los Angeles as a crutch very often. I believe a lot of the reasons this community didn't grow. Not this, San Diego. Well, because LA is so close. You want a yeshiva? Oh, we'll go to LA. You want kosher food? So go to LA. Everything's
Right.
we'll go to LA. You ended up not actually doing anything here.
Yeah, Las Vegas has 9 kosher restaurants, for example.
Right?
Smaller town, smaller community, in the middle of nowhere.
Okay. I don't know if they have a beit din in Las Vegas.
I don't either.
That would be an interesting title. Av Beit Din of Las Vegas. That would be.
How do you find someone who is gambling?
If you need a question I will ask my friend Moses.
Yeah.
He was here
What?
from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
He went left. If you need a question I would ask him.
Oh, okay. So next time you talk to him, you'll ask him.
He understand me.
It has to be during the daytime. We mentioned because daytime is when judgment happens. Mihu dafka lechatchila. Says Maran, this is only in an ideal situation, the chatchila situation. Aval b'diavad, listen very carefully, but after the fact, in a secondary situation, in a less than ideal situation. Im lo mal otaval, ela bifnei shnayim. If he did a Brit Milah, went to the mikveh only in front of two people, or the Rama adds, or kovim, or relatives, uvalayla, and it was done at night. So imagine it was two people who were related to each other and at night.
Yeah.
Meaning all the invalidating parts of the beit din.
Right.
Afilu lo taval Hashem gerut. You have to understand what Maran is telling you. Even if he didn't go to the mikveh for the sake of conversion to Judaism. Ela ish taval lekiryo. But a man who went to the mikveh because he had an emission at night. Visha shetavala linidata. Or the woman's going to the mikveh because she was a nida. Have ger. He's a convert to Judaism.
You're saying
So,
just the water itself
he's-
does it without anything
so
else?
the-
Two people at night that are related to each other,
Okay, so
and he's not even going in for the sake of conversion.
He converts?
so what's the standard then? I mean, in that case.
I don't think we have enough information to
Let me finish the
answer
sentence.
that.
Umutar b'Israelit. He's allowed to marry a Jewish woman. Chutz mekabalat mitzvot. Says Maran, this is all true except for the acceptance of the mitzvot. Sheme'akevet imena bayom v'shlosha, which does hold back the conversion if it's not during the day with three people. So long as he's accepted mitzvot in front of three Jews during the day, if he goes to the mikveh and does his Brit Milah and all of that in front of two people in the middle of the night who are related to each other, he's Jewish. So what's the main part of the conversion we see here?
Acceptance and
The acceptance of the mitzvot. That's what makes or breaks it. Uleharif v'la'Rambam, and to the Rif and the Rambam. Afilu b'diavad, even after the fact. Shetava lomal b'fnei shnayim o balayla. If he went to the mikvah or he had a Brit Milah in front of two people, or at night, me'akev, the conversion is not a valid conversion. V'asur b'Israelit, and he's forbidden to marry a Jewish woman.
That's even if he accepts the mitzvah.
Yes.
According to the Rambam,
Yes.
and who else?
The Rif. So the two pillars of Halacha.
It sounds to me to the whole thing of Kiddushin, in a sense that, no, we have a chuppah, we have a ring, we have the edim, we have all
But
that.
what's actually the deciding factor of
Right,
that?
if it's two witnesses see a man and woman together in a, living together.
So the Rif and the Rambam are clearly saying that you need to have three men in the daytime that are kosher. So he's not Jewish. V'asur b'Israelit, and he cannot marry someone who is Jewish. But listen to this. Aval im nasa Yisraelit, but if he marries a Jewish woman, v'holid mimena ben, and they have a child, a boy, lo paslinan le. We don't pasel him, meaning we don't
Reject. Puzzle is like,
we don't
Forbidden.
nullify, we don't invalidate him.
Mhm.
Invalidate him regarding what?
his status as a Jew.
It seems like any other case where a non-Jewish man was with a Jewish woman, and that child is Jewish. I mean, meaning it's not any worse than that situation. Okay, so what's really the argument here? You have Maran and the Rambam and the Rif are arguing with each other. Maran says,
even at nighttime. If
Right.
there's two related people.
Moran
who-
said this acceptance of the mitzvot is most.
Right. So meaning only acceptance to the mitzvot is what invalidates the giyur. Everything else,
Validates, not invalidates.
only acceptance of the mitzvot.
Validates.
If it was not done in front of three people, invalidates the conversion.
You have to tell me all the
Oh, it
613.
validates the conversion.
All the 613.
Everything else, if it was done in front of two people at night
Yes,
that were
sir.
related, it's okay.
Yes, no, all the
Leif and the
613
Rambam disagree.
mitzvot. All six.
No, he doesn't have to know all 13. He just has to be told the main part of the mitzvot and accept them.
What's the main part then?
Do you know all 613 mitzvot?
I read in the books which says,
But do you know all of them?
no.
I don't know all of them either. You
Some
know?
of, some of them we do,
Well,
we
half
don't
of them
consider as
are-
a mitzvah. Think about it. Some of them are,
Related to
no,
the-
I was reading the 613. Some of them, I didn't know that this is mitzvahs.
Right. That's right. Yeah. So he has to accept the Torah. Know all of it, not necessarily. But we didn't get to that part yet. It's a crazy halacha. That means it's like a guy comes here to Shacharit, and he says, "Hey," he says, "Rabbi Yoni, you sit with Dan and you sit with Barry, and they're gonna sit down and make a bedin. I'm accepting Torah in front of you three, okay?" Then he runs to the mikvah, jumps into the pool in front of two people, and then he's kosher as a. It's a crazy halacha.
Is the mikvah
Well,
for
what
conversion?
about the bris?
So he does the brit also. He hires a mohel to do a
Well,
brit
that's not a
milah.
small thing.
It's not a small thing. He does it at his lunch in front of his friends at business. Two Jewish guys there.
It
I know what he does. He does it in a setting where he throws himself a brit party.
Is the mikvah for conversion
The same thing as
strict
for a woman. Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah. It's a good question. I didn't mean pool as in swimming pool. Jumps into the mikveh.
We couldn't have it baked in, especially with Barry at nighttime.
No,
His
I
eyes would
won't.
be closed.
But whatever.
Now here's an interesting question.
Audio only?
Can you convert someone on Shabbat? What's the final step of the conversion process?
Well, the mikvah.
Mikvah.
The mikvah. So can he finish his conversion process on Shabbat? Can he go to the mikvah
You
on
would think
Shabbat?
technically you'd be okay, right?
Well, tell me why.
Well,
What's the problem? What are we worried about here?
He may change his mind.
What does it make a difference if it's on Shabbat and he changes his mind?
Because let's say he did everything else on Friday. If he waits an extra day or two, it's like an in-between stage. It's a twilight zone stage.
Why there?
Oh, you're saying because you want to help him like figure out what he can do on Shabbat. You want to make sure he has a clear status for Shabbat?
No.
No. So what do you say?
That's an interesting idea. But
So,
no, just that there shouldn't be any delay because Judaism doesn't like delays for certain
But on the other
things.
hand, are you allowed to?
yeah, how can you use the mikvah on Shabbat?
You tell me.
Yeah, I didn't
A
know
lot
you
of
could.
Hasidim
I
go.
didn't know you could.
When I was in LA, people going Friday night, Saturday morning.
They tell you can't swim in a pool on Shabbat, but you can
Yeah.
go to the mikvah. on Shabbat.
Yeah,
you
that's
figure
what
that
I
one out
was-
for me,
yeah.
and I'll have coffee with you.
That's
I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's what.
No, I mean there obviously there's a difference in the two, but there's the question about going to the mikveh is interesting enough not about getting wet and towels and squeezing. It's not what we're asking here. You're not allowed to have a beit din convene on Shabbat. Beit din doesn't work on
It's a
Shabbat.
malacha.
Din, we don't judge judgments on
I see,
Shabbat. It's a
yes.
day of no judgment.
It makes sense.
But there's something else that happens. One of the 39 melachot. The 39 you have to know. One of them is mitaken, fixing something, or finishing off makeh bepatish, the final hammer blow. You're essentially finishing the creation of this person on Shabbat. Are you allowed to do that?
No.
So when Maran
According to
says,
that definition.
הואיל וטבילת גר צריך בית דין של ג' because the beit din needs to be of 3 people on Shabbat, אין מטבילין אותו בשבת, we don't put him in the mikvah on Shabbat, ולא ביום טוב, not on Yom Tov, ולא בלילה, not at night,
You're Saturday night or Friday?
just any night, because beit din doesn't convene at night. ואם טבל, but if he does it anyways, הרי זה גר, he's still a convert to Judaism.
Okay.
Remember the statement I told you before I flew to Israel? It would be very hard to find a person who was converted by 3 Orthodox rabbis who's not actually Jewish. And I don't care the politics behind the bidin, but really, 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 it's hard to find a situation where the convert went through the proper halachic steps, and just because of politics, his conversion isn't. It's very hard. I mean, you have situations here which are against halakha, and he's Jewish.
the politics is going to disappear in some time?
What's the bottom line? The Moran is not considered correct.
It seems like the problem is that there are three people, and it looks like judgment being happening on Shabbat. And that's the real problem here. The people are going to look, oh, the beit din is convening on Shabbat. But if he does it without a beit din, two people, it seems like it might actually be okay. Okay, let's leave the halacha where it
Do
is.
you know of cases that would bear one way or the other on this? Or situations that have come up in recent years that where
I don't actually know of specifically on a Shabbat situation or a nighttime situation. No, I don't.
Why is a rush to do it on Saturday instead of waiting for
He
another
doesn't
day?
want to wait another day.
Yeah, you can wait.
He doesn't want to wait.
Why we can wait? What is the rush? What is the reason?
Have you ever paid for next day shipping? Yeah? Why? Why do you usually wait 5 days? Sometimes people are impatient. They can't wait.
you gotta have that book tomorrow. Not next.
Hamadat hagerim. One who is doing the Brit Milah for a convert. So he's now the mohel. Mevarech, the blessing that he makes, Baruch ata Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, V'tzivanu, Lamul et hagerim, to circumcise the converts.
That's what the bracha.
That's the blessing.
That's interesting.
V'achar kach mevarech, and then he makes a blessing. Baruch ata Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lamul et hagerim, to circumcise the converts, ulehatif mehem dam brit, and to take a drop of blood from them. I mean, we're including both kinds of Brit Milah in the same blessing. We don't make one for one person and one for the other person. We mention both. And then he says, she'ilmalei dam brit, because if it wasn't for this drop of blood, lo nitkaimu shamayim va'aretz, heaven and earth would cease to exist. Shneimar, as it says, im lo bariti yomam v'layla, if I did not create day and night, chukot shamayim va'aretz lo samti, I would have not created the laws of the Torah. I mean, the laws of the Torah are what cause the day and night to exist. The other later authorities add in that there's a last blessing, Baruch ata Hashem, blessed are you Hashem, koret habrit, who establishes the covenant. I mean, the same blessing we make on another Brit Milah.
Is there 2 or 3 brachot that are done on the?
It's technically 2 and 3. It's 2 brachot, the second of which has 2 Baruch ata Hashems in it. And one at the beginning and one at the end, kind of like Asher Yatzal, or the blessing on the chuppah. And we're not including here the glass of wine or anything else that goes into this blessing.
There is also a kos.
Like a Brit Milah for a child. I believe.
Do they do the whole Ana Hashem Ashiana?
I don't- There's a nusach for it. I believe we use a kos. The interesting question is, how do you make the blessing out of a grown man? He's naked. So the answer is you have to cover him up. Unless he's a child, in which case he's a child, he doesn't have to cover the Brit Milah. He actually has to hold on to the Brit Milah, because there's immediately doing the bracha.
Who's holding on to it?
The mohel, for a child, has to hold this place where he's going to be doing the Brit Milah, whereas an adult, he actually has to cover him up.
Up to what age?
That's a great question. When does that age begin? For a boy, it's probably going to be somewhere between 6 to 9, depending who you ask.
That late, huh?
Yeah. For a girl, it might be younger. Maybe 3. But we don't do a Brit Milah on a girl. But meaning the age where one becomes an erva. The next halacha is again a censoring of the Catholic Church. Kutit. What is a kutit?
A black one? Kushite?
No, the thing. Remember the Kutim is a nation that converted to Judaism in mass. You find them in the Talmud a lot. Kutim, Kutit.
Not like Kuzari.
They were kind of like a
Tribe.
nation that clung onto the Jewish people, that had laws of semi-Jewishness. Now, it doesn't actually say this. In the original Shulchan Aruch it says Goya, a non-Jewish lady. But again, the Catholic Church changed it to Kutit because they didn't want to talk about themselves. So Goya Shnitgaira, a non-Jewish lady who converts. V'hi me'uberet, and she's pregnant. Does her son that is born to her, or daughter born to her, have to go to the mikveh? Does he have to convert also? Because
Conceived before.
it was conceived when she was still not Jewish. Meaning, does the child's status go based on his conception or on his birth?
Exceptions.
So what was the answer?
It says En tzarich tevilah. He doesn't have to go to the mikveh when he's born. Meaning, he's Jewish. He's born Jewish. He's
So
born
his
to a Jewish mother.
So the status is from birth, not in vitro.
Very good. In which case,
Uterus.
you can learn here Halacha. If somebody were to take their egg and their husband's sperm and put them in a non-Jewish woman, that baby would be not Jewish.
This happens a lot now.
A lot.
You have a lot of surrogate mothers. Wasn't there just a case here in
A
town?
surrogate mother, it seems to me, the Halacha. I mean, obviously the Poskim wrote many letters about this. I'm
Yeah.
not sticking my head.
That is a deep
But-
topic.
But it seems to go after the one who gives birth, not after who's contributed to that
Whose
act.
material was
Yes.
Well, that would make sense because the mother is the source of the life as it comes into the world.
Father is
Yeah.
the source of life most of the time.
And also there's a transformation of the seed of the parent inside of the person, that it's not the same as it was when it was part of the mother, part of the father.
I have
I mean, this
case,
leads issues of like mamzerut. What happens if this surrogate mother has another child? That's not hers either. I mean, it is hers, halachically. And then 20 years down the road, one is a yeshiva boy and one is a seminary girl, having different parents who gave their own parts of themselves, and they meet in Israel in seminary and yeshiva. Someone sets them up on a shidduch. Essentially, that's a classic case of a brother and a sister marrying each other.
It's actually becoming a problem in the secular world now as well because
Yeah.
of the surrogate womb business. It's like, what happens genetically when you put people who came from the same mother but with different,
Interesting.
it's a very big problem.
Very interesting.
I know people here in town who had situations like that.
So there are a lot of halachot. This is a very complicated halachic situation.
We have all
It's
these
based off of
situations.
Gemarot, Isha B'Hambatia, the number of sugyot that the Gemara mentions that have to do with this. I'm not sticking my head in that conversation. Just in this conversation, the boy is born Jewish, which also has a practical ramification. When a child converts to Judaism, his parents convert him to Judaism in beit din. They bring him to the beit din. The beit din says, "Okay, we'll convert him to Judaism." He has, at the age of bar mitzvah, the right to renounce his Judaism.
Renounce.
Yeah, because he becomes an adult, and then he can say, "Hey, I don't want to be Jewish anymore."
I thought you said that once a person is Jewish,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
can't
if a
renounce
As an adult,
adult. It was not
Oh,
as a
adult.
that's-
child,
I-
that's the next halakha. This is the next halakha.
This is a different
So then
situation.
what-
But we're saying that this child who's born doesn't have that right, because he was born Jewish, like any other child who's born Jewish to a Jewish mother.
Oh, so you're saying if a child is converted after they're born,
Very good.
they,
Very
when
good.
they get to a certain age.
I mean, this child is not considered a convert to Judaism. He's considered Jewish, the son of a convert, but he doesn't have that ability to renounce his religion
What if
afterwards.
you adopt?
Oh, so that's the next halakha here.
So I've seen a lot of confusion over adoption. Like
Don't,
one case I shared with you through.
don't adopt.
Let's see here.
Don't adopt.
No, but we have somebody who's married. we know
Let's see this
somebody
next halakha.
marrying somebody who is adopted by a Jewish mother, and
Goy katan, a small goy. What do we mean? A child. What's it katan? Doesn't mean small, like a little guy. I mean a minor. That's the word
some
katan.
people wish all the going a little bit.
Im yesh lo av, if he has a father, yichol legayer oto. His father is able to come to Beit Din and say, I'm giving consent for my child to convert to Judaism.
But not himself.
Yes.
How often does that happen?
V'im en lo av, and if he doesn't have a father, I have a student whose father is not Jewish and his mother is Jewish, and the parents are still married. Married. They live together. And the father paid for Orthodox Jewish school, paid for him to go to yeshiva. The father wants the kid to be Jewish, but he didn't want to convert. No, I'm not coming to say is that a normal relationship. Is that I'm not saying there could be such a situation for whatever factor, whatever motivates that situation.
I know the case.
Yeah. V'im elav, he doesn't have a father, valid geir, and he comes to convert. Or imom aviatot geir, or his mother comes to bring him to convert. Beit din megarin oto. Beit din converts him. What's the question here? Why wouldn't they convert him?
They're not converting father, they're converting him.
Why would they? What's the reason to think they couldn't convert him?
At what age is this kid?
Under bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah.
Oh,
He's not old enough to give consent.
right, that's right. He's not old enough.
But I mean,
Halachically, he's not considered a baghdad. He's not considered one with the intellectual maturity to decide to be Jewish.
so
But I
that
thought you
doesn't
said the
matter.
father's
The father
deciding for his
wants
kid.
him can convert it.
Is he allowed to do such a thing?
Well, that's the question.
So there's a rule. The rule in Halacha is, I had this argument with a passport control lady in Ben Gurion Airport. When she made me an Israeli citizen. I said, you have the right to make me an Israeli citizen. There's a Halacha that says, Zachin la'adam shelo b'fanav. If they're giving out free cars, you can, as a Zev is at this car sale, they're giving out 10 free cars. He's allowed to sign our names on 10 free cars. Oh, we didn't give him consent. You're allowed to get merits for somebody else. You can acquire something for the good of somebody else without their consent, because chances are they would want you to. You cannot, though, cause a person damage without their consent. Meaning, you can't sign them up for the Israeli passport. That's a good thing for them. But then say that they're 3 years AWOL from the Israeli army and put them in prison. You could do the first step, but you can't do the second step. Zev can't sign on 10 cars for us, which oblige us in a $10,000 down payment. That he can't do. You understand?
Yeah.
So here we're saying the father's bringing his son to Beit Din, and the Beit Din, he's saying, I want my son to become Jewish. That's a schut. I am causing something good to happen to him. And therefore he's allowed to do it even without his child's consent.
Child.
Yeah.
Talking about child.
Because this is a situation where we believe he's going up in status. He's going up into a world of Am
But in
Yisrael.
that case, he can say, I don't want to be at the age of 13.
At 13, very good.
But he, in other words, he has to get circumcised.
That's part of the deal.
Yeah, that's not reversible. Actually,
Ben Katan Shigiro Aviv, Ben Shigiruhu Bedin, whether the father is the one who gave consent, or the Bedin says we'll convert him on our shoulders. He's at 13 able to walk away. And he's not considered a Jew who's left Judaism, but he's considered a person who went back to being not Jewish. Says the Maran, me dvarim amurim. When do we say this? B'shelo nahag minhag yadut mashiach din. So long as at the age of 13, he didn't continue living a Jewish life. Aval nahag minhag yadut mashiach din. But let's say he decides to rebel at 15. The first 2 years he put on tefillin and went to synagogue. Shuv eina chol limchot. He's no longer able to go against and say that he wants to give up his Judaism. He can only renounce at 13, or she can only renounce at 12. If they continue to live a Jewish life, they lose their chance to renounce their faith.
but what if they decide after a couple of years, hey, I made a mistake, I was immature, they can't come back?
Like any other adult who converts to
So
Judaism.
they can convert twice?
No. Oh, you mean in that situation? Yeah, sure, they can come back and convert again.
You can convert twice.
The first time nobody asked them.
So you're saying the first one wasn't valid as the person's decision?
Personal
Because that's the only situation I can think of. Like, let's say an adult converts, oh, I changed my mind, I don't want to be Jewish. Of course, they're halachically Jewish even if they decide to quit at that point.
Not to change the mind. He doesn't want to follow any rules.
Well, that's a typical teenager.
Then he's not under the rules. And maybe a reform Jew.
I don't want to go to school.
Oh yeah.
Don't want to.
And this is the same thing, by the way, with an adoption. The parents bring the child at 5 years old to Beit Din, they convert him, and again at 13. Now, the story is they don't necessarily have to tell him at 13.
Is a conservative beit din considered kosher
No.
conversion?
No.
Well, they don't have to tell him the halacha.
Interesting.
So
You heard
what
what I
if-
said. They don't have to tell him.
You have to tell him he's Jewish.
They don't have to tell me converted.
You know,
Well, that means he's Jewish.
Yes, meaning they don't have to give him that chance at 13 to renounce his faith.
I see.
But so how's he going to know to do it?
If he remembers, if they did it at 9 years old and he remembered at 13 decides to drop it off.
Well, you and I know of a situation of a young woman who's marrying, who was adopted by a non-Jewish father, Jewish mother, who got a conservative conversion as a kid and is now marrying someone who's halachically Jewish. So what happens?
It would be much better for a beit din just to do a conversion for her.
I mean, it would be like...
It would be much better. In that situation, he's not going to drop her. In which case, there is a beit din that could help them out. There has to be a beit din that's responsible enough to care. It's not remember, I read last week from Rabbi Yosef that he helps solve many such cases.